oldest cities in Kansas. And there are a group of men, the Chalice, Luther down here, when we get to him, he was one of the original people in the Atchison Town Company. And the town is named after David Rice Atchison, who was actually a pro-slavery senator from Missouri. Atchison eventually ended up being against slavery, and there was a lot of border conflict going on. Not major conflict, but there was a militia group here from Atchison that went to Missouri down by Westport during the Civil War. So there is some strong history. And also we have a large group of African Americans who came here on steamboat in 1878. Those folks, that group of folks were called the Exodusters. And they came basically from Tennessee and Missouri, or Tennessee and Kentucky, excuse me. And they, their families and descendants still live here. There are a couple families that actually moved out to Nicodemus. If you're familiar with Nicodemus here in Kansas, it's an all African American settlement, and just a really, really interesting place to visit if you've never been out there. Gentleman who started the cemetery, and they actually had people pay in to get plots, and then they profited from that money. It was really interesting. They made quite a ton of money from doing this. There was actually a sexton's house that sat back there. They built that in 1902. They had their own hearse, which was made for $78 in the late 1860s, and they had it painted for $48. So there was also a trolley tour that came out here. Not a trolley tour, but trolleys that came out here. This cemetery is called a rural cemetery, and one of the reasons why they did this is because embalming then was not what it is today. So one of the reasons was so that the stench from the burials would not overpower being close to the city. I know that's gross, but that's what happens. And the other reason is because they thought this was a nice, serene, peaceful setting. The sad part is many of the original trees are now gone from here. Like these are original, but you can tell this one's having some issues. You'll see up here where a couple of the pines have fallen. The sad part about this cemetery, as the wealth in the community has decreased, so has some of the ability to preserve this community, plus preserve the tombstones. One of my big things right now is to try to do some preservation work and get things rolling. Well, with all that being said, I know you're probably bored. So kind of remember that. But look at the clasped hands. That's on your sheet, and that's another symbol. Basically, it means that they are joined and they are married. And a bridge, a gateway over that would also be symbolic of marriage and their togetherness. And urns are all over the place. You'll see urns everywhere. The interesting thing that I like about this tombstone is that they have an epitaph, which it says, "Gone but not forgotten," on the father. And the other one on the wife says, "Beloved wife." Plus, they give her maiden name. They also give the date they died, how old they were. Although they don't give their birth dates, you can go back and there's charts now that would give you exact birth date of those people using the 58 years, 9 months, and 24 days. So you could get an exact birth date. So for those of you who do any family history, that is important. There's another gravestone we'll see later that is really, really a genealogist or historic researcher's dream. This is John Martin. John Martin was a governor. Here in the cemetery, there are 3 governors buried here. And what do you notice that's very interesting about this tombstone? Yeah.
Half of it.
Half of it. Why do you think? That's a good guess. But John Martin died when he was only 50 years old. So he has a life half lived. So that's what that means. And he's got a wonderful epitaph, which we're not going to stop and read. But he's also got this beautiful, beautiful copper patina portrait of himself. So I like that one. I just like and he is in your little brochure as one of the notable people who are buried out here. Epitaph anymore, very much at all. But I want you to look at this. This is a child's gravestone. We'll see a couple others, but this is really interesting because it has baby shoes on it. As I said, and I don't know if any of you do any gravestone rubbings, but make sure you do not use shaving cream. That is the worst thing to use if you're going to do a rubbing. Yes, sweetheart, there is. Kings on it. You see the statue, the anchor, the wonderful, wonderful markings on the script that tells of each people's death. It's very Christian. You see the cross here with all of the flowers on it. It's just absolutely incredible. It's very iconic. And notice down and below that there's a head marker that has KMS, the initials of all the people who are buried there. I love that. I think it's really cool. Let me tell you a little bit about oblasts, too. They are a throwback of Egyptian times, and they actually, there's quite a few of them out here. I'm going to show you one here, a big one, and during like the 1860s through 1880s, they were really popular, and there was a revitalization of using that type of tombstone. Napoleon had also been real instrumental in the late 1700s, like 1798, to have a resurgence of this theme as well. And it's really, as I said, Egyptian in form. They're very, very tasteful. They have wonderful, wonderful clean lines about them. Although they can be, small like this one or large like the one we're going to see up here, they just, they make a statement completely. And the tall left here that says Byram on it, Mr. Byram ran a hotel. It's down close to where the river was. The grain company now owns the property, but it was a large hotel. It had about 200 rooms in it. It was full most of the time. Got a lot of railroad traffic and steamboat traffic. He made a mint doing that. Britt was a railroad man, and he actually died at his post. He was out on a train trip, and his train went over a bridge, and he could see that some destruction and things were going to happen. So he unlocked the back of the rest of the cars, and he and 2 men died in the train wreck, and they were scalded to death. Hence, they have that she was the wife of John Schmidt. They give her maiden name. They tell the date she was born, the date she died, where she was born at and give an epitaph. I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
Or love.
So Josh, you want to say some words to the viewers at home?
Don't do drugs and stay in school.
And you won't end up in a cemetery? I don't understand.
Well, you'll end up in a cemetery regardless. But, staying in school and not doing drugs can help prevent you from getting there before your due time. This coming from a guy who smokes pipes, drinks beer and wine and hard liquor and
You're a bad influence.
hookah.
Well, you're not a druggie, so I guess you have that going for you.
True. At least I got that. I'll put that on my resume for next time I play.
At least I'm not a druggie. You want to take some video?
Okay. So what am I taking video of?
Whatever you feel like taking video of.
Okay. Now what?
Cute. I know a certain tall, skinny white boy who might admits to that.
Oh, that's the glory of editing software.
Fact.
No, Thad. That's his name. Thad.
Okay, this is amusing over here.
He has a tractor. Is that a tractor?
He has the Blue State Wildcat logo. And she has...
No date of death?
She's not dead yet.
Ah, okay.
This is where she will be buried. Actually, fun fact, my parents have already purchased their tombstone.
It's Arnold.
It's the last name of one of the guys who works in our graduate department on our main campus.
Maybe the north-south headstones were that way because they just really believe in Santa. I thought so. So I've never heard of the sun, where the sun rises being tied in with. When she said resurrection, I'm assuming she meant from the Book of Revelation.
Yeah, just the idea of a new day starting and new life, and then the day ending representing death.
And so another day starting being the resurrection of when the dead are supposed to walk the earth. When hell has no more room.
I don't think that's quite what she meant.
Oh, okay.
You're making all the wrong references.
I mean, let's be honest. They're going to be zombies.
Look, you know